Across the world, across the nation, even in this area, cults, false teachings, and New Age philosophies are on the rise. These leaders reject the simplicity of the Bible's message while supposedly relaying new truths to their followers. And these strange new teachings are even infiltrating the church. Why are millions of intelligent people falling for these new bold claims? This is Cultivate, an insightful broadcast that aims at exposing the pitfalls of the cults, the New Age movement, the New World Order, and frightening new teachings that are even being accepted in many of today's churches. Cultivate will also give you an understanding of where we are in light of Bible prophecy. Your host on Cultivate, Jim Zalanka, was raised as a Mormon, but today is a born-again Christian and an expert on non-Christian cults and world religions. Now, here's Jim Zalanka.
Hello and welcome to this Tuesday edition of Cultivate. Yes, as you know, I was raised as a Mormon. Please don't hold it against me. Wasn't my fault. It just happened that way. And you know, it's pretty rare that a Mormon even gets saved. But back in 74, geez, sounds like a long time ago now, I did have a true born-again experience. I got saved one night in my sleeping bag in Merced, California, in the backyard of a Christian church. Not far from Yosemite, California, where I was living, and I had broken the world's record for the amount of flights off of Glacier Point with my hang glider. Kind of a vainglory thing now as I look back at it, but you know, after I got saved, I realized, hey, you know, the other Mormons are not saved, including my family. I was sort of in denial for quite a while there, but eventually I realized, you know, hey, I got to do something about this. And I'm still doing it today. Trying to get the hardest of the hardest saved, those in the cults. You know, Mormonism teaches that God is a man. You know, he kind of earned his way into godhood, you know, and he's living on another planet near a mysterious star called Kolob. If you need the spelling for that, it's K-O-L-O-B. It's very real. It's in Mormon doctrine. Well, there, with his multitudes of wives, he's still producing babies. But these babies are just these poor spirit babies in need of a physical body. So Mormonism teaches that, if Mormons get married and have babies of their own, then these poor spirit babies are somehow beamed down from starbase Kolob onto the earth and begin inhabiting the babies born to Mormon parents. Mormonism also teaches that Jesus is a brother of Satan, and that Jesus is the God of this world, when the Bible, of course, teaches that Satan is the God of this world. That's how bad this is. It's difficult to really get through to any cult members because they become so indoctrinated. But you know, the Word of God works with anyone, even with Mormons who put so much trust in their founder, Joseph Smith, and their Book of Mormon. I'm sharing with you this week what I can with our limited time, the audio portion of a film entitled The Bible versus Joseph Smith. What's interesting about this film is that it was all done in Israel, and it deals with the prophecies by Joseph Smith and things from the Book of Mormon versus the Bible prophecies. Now, at the end of today's broadcast, by the way, this is like a dialogue going on this guy's deck. I mean, it's a real Christian with a real Mormon, and he's just kind of going through and looking at the prophecies, you know. So, I mean, this was for real stuff going on. Anyway, at the end of the broadcast, we're going to make this available on a DVD. It will be available for a gift of any amount, and feel free to make copies and share with others. But now let's go ahead and take off where we left off yesterday. Here again is the audio portion of the film, The Bible versus Joseph Smith.
So is the Book of Mormon saying that because of this corruption of the Bible, those who follow this corrupted Bible would end up in hell?
Yes.
So to test Nephi's prophecy, I talked to Greek linguist Dr. Christoph Rico because he is an expert on the reliability of the Bible. Nephi is, according to Mormonism, is a prophet, and he is prophesying. If you look at the notes here between 600 and 592 BC. So this is a prediction of the distant future.
Well, the first thing is I won't find any scholar who would take seriously this statement that this prophet is from the years 600 and 592 before Christ. The first question I would ask, or the first demand I would ask, is that they produce a single manuscript of this prophet. I mean, there is nothing. There is not a single manuscript, either from antiquity or even from the Middle Ages, that they could produce. So this is a text that has been written in modern times. I mean, there's nothing more that can be said about it.
Are there any ancient copies of the Book of Mormon that would predate the time of Joseph Smith?
No. Not here on Earth, anyway.
But what happened was the gold plates were given to Joseph Smith. He copied them, he translated from them, and then the gold plates were taken back into heaven.
Okay. Tomorrow I can come and I say, look, I have had a revelation from heaven, and this is the holy book, and all the other stuff is nonsense. I can do that. So the only guarantor of it is me. What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything.
So there are no ancient manuscripts to back up the prophecy of Nephi about the loss of many plain and precious parts of the Bible. In my conversation with Greg, he explained to me what the Mormon Church had taught him about how this corruption of the Bible occurred.
Well, it's always been my understanding that there has been one manuscript, and as it faded over time, then monks would recopy it over and over and over again. As the manuscript would fade, then they'd create a new one with new ink, and if they didn't like the way something read, or if they thought it was too controversial, they'd just leave it out.
Isn't it the case that in antiquity, the way that the Bible was preserved was that there was only one copy of the Bible, and that copy faded over time, and then as it faded they would make another copy of it by copying it over, but just one copy at a time?
Not at all. The situation is completely different. What you do have in antiquity is, first of all, the church start spreading over the Roman Empire and other parts. So everywhere they need copies. So at the very beginning, what you need is copies of the New Testament, because...
So they made thousands of copies.
Of course.
Well, I understand, after having been here and visited, that there are literally thousands of manuscripts. People would go places and want to take their scriptures with them, so they would copy down from another manuscript, and whole bunches of people would do that. So there's literally thousands.
We have like 6,000 copies that go back to antiquity, that are either in Hebrew for the Old Testament or in Greek for the New Testament. If we are talking about the versions, the figure is much higher. We have 40,000 copies. So, which is something amazing. You don't have a single other book in antiquity where you have so many texts.
So let me get this straight. The Book of Mormon has 0 ancient manuscripts to back it up. Yet, it is criticizing the Bible of being unreliable, when the Bible has 40,000 ancient manuscripts to support it. If that were to happen, over and over again, that monks didn't like something, so they would take it out of the New Testament. With all that you have, with the different translations and all the fragments and all the copies that you have, would you be able to determine that happened?
Impossible.
This is impossible because soon after the original writings of the New Testament, thousands of copies were made. So if a monk wanted to make a change, his change would stand out like a sore thumb. This is also true for the Old Testament, but these copies are actually older, than when Nephi says the corruption of the Bible took place. So, being here in Israel, we can test our modern Bibles with what's been found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. I met up with Dead Sea Scroll expert Dr. Randall Price, who is excavating at Qumran, where the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered. So again, Nephi prophesied that the Bible would be corrupted after the 12 apostles of Jesus. And because the Dead Sea Scrolls are older than this predicted corruption, we can compare the Dead Sea Scrolls with our modern Bibles to see if any plain and precious portions are missing.
Wow. You've been listening to the audio portion of the film entitled The Bible versus Joseph Smith. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we're not set up for taking phone orders, so you need to grab a pen to jot down our address, which I'm about to give out. First, I just want to mention that, the Mormons are not the enemy. They are victims of the enemy. And it's up to you and I to reach out to them with the truth. There's nobody else going to do this. And, if you don't feel like you can witness to them directly, then this DVD is a great tool to use. Just give it to them. Or better yet, watch it yourself first. Then make copies and get it out to all the Mormon churches in your area, as well as show it at your own church or fellowship. No copyrights on this. So you need to take advantage of this. And don't go thinking somebody else is going to do it, because they're thinking the same way you are. Don't take the apathy pill. And if you already have, well then cough it up, because we're talking about eternal lives are at stake here. Now again, if you'd like to obtain this DVD, it's entitled The Bible versus Joseph Smith. Again, this is available for gift of any amount. I would ask that you might do what you can in writing, because I do have to pay for this airtime, and I don't think I need to mention anything about the economy. The support has dropped off with many ministries, yet I'm still out here trying to get, I put my life on the line literally here to get people saved and to alert the church as to what is taking place, the dangers and deceptions out here. So, even my own sister was murdered simply because she was my sister. And the Mormon Church wants me dead too, so your prayers are greatly appreciated. Okay, hope you grabbed a pen, because here comes the address. It's Cultivate Ministries, P.O. Box 526, Florissant, Colorado, 80816. That's Cultivate, P.O. Box 526, Florissant, Colorado. You can spell that however you want. I'll give it to you once. It's Florissant, Florissant, Colorado, 80816. Again, it's Cultivate Ministries, P.O. Box 526, Florissant, Colorado, 80816. If you do need to contact us by phone, the number here, area code 719-630-1222. That's area code 719-630-1222. And now, in case you missed that address or phone number, you may obtain it from this radio station. This has been Jim Zalanka with Cultivate. Please do keep us in your prayers, and we'll be back again tomorrow.